The Grand Hall of the Galactic. Conclave buzzed with the voices of 30 different alien species. Captain Jack Harrison stood tall despite feeling small, his blue uniform of the Earth. Defense fleet was crisp and new compared to the elaborate robes and armor of the other delegates. "Remember," said his second-in-command, Lisa Daniels, "we're here to make friends, not enemies." Jack nodded. Earth had only discovered faster-than-light travel 5 years ago. They were babies in this cosmic community. Most aliens looked at humans with curiosity or indifference, but the Vicari were different. The Vicari delegation sat across the room. Their scaled bodies were twice as tall as a human. Their forearms ended in clawed hands. Jack had been briefed about them. The Vicari Empire controlled 15 star systems and was known for their military might. "The human delegation may approach," announced the conclave speaker, a jellyfish-like creature floating in a gravity bubble. Jack walked forward, his heart beating fast. This was humanity's formal introduction to the galaxy. He had practiced his speech for weeks. "Honorable members of the Galactic Conclave," Jack began. "Earth extends its hand in friendship and peaceful cooperation." Several alien species made sounds of approval. Some even clapped their tentacles or wings together. But the Vicari ambassador, General Dra, simply stared with his yellow eyes. "We may be new to the stars," Jack continued, "but humans have much to offer. Our art, our science, our unique perspective." "Enough of this nonsense," interrupted General Doctor. His translator device made his voice sound like gravel. "We have studied your species. You are nothing but primitive primates who got lucky with technology." A hush fell over the hall. Jack kept his face calm even as anger rose in his chest. "With respect, General," Jack said, "we came here to build relationships, not to be insulted." The Vicari delegation laughed. It was an ugly sound. "You think you deserve respect." General Dra stood up. He towered over Jack. "Your people spent most of their history killing each other over tiny patches of dirt. You are violent, short-lived, and weak." Jack took a deep breath. "We have made mistakes, yes, but we have learned from them. We seek peace." General Dra moved closer. "Peace, your history shows you don't even know the meaning of the word." The tension in the room was thick. Other alien delegates watched nervously. Some were already backing away. "Perhaps we should continue this discussion later," Jack suggested, trying to be diplomatic. General Dra leaned down until his face was inches from Jack's. Then, he did something unexpected. He spat directly into Jack's face. The thick green fluid dripped down Jack's cheek. He wiped it away slowly, fighting every instinct to respond with force. "In my culture," Jack said quietly, "that would be considered extremely rude." What Jack didn't know was that in Vicari culture, spitting on someone was not just rude. It was a formal declaration of war. General Drax smiled. "The Vicari Empire does not negotiate with lesser beings." Suddenly, alarms blared throughout the conclave hall. Lisa ran to Jack's side. "Captain, 3 Vicari warships just appeared from hyperspace. They're attacking our vessel." Before Jack could respond, a massive explosion shook the station. The conclave erupted into chaos. This was a trap, Jack realized. He grabbed his communicator. "All Earth personnel evacuate immediately. This is not a drill." As they ran for their ship, Lisa looked at Jack with confusion. "What just happened?" "We didn't do anything to provoke them." Jack had no answer. He didn't understand that he had just been pulled into a war with one of the most powerful empires in the galaxy. What the Vicari didn't understand was that they had just declared war on the most lethal species in the known universe. They would learn their mistakes soon enough. General Drax stood proudly before the Vicari High Command. Large screens displayed the damage done to the human ships. The curved wall of the war room glowed with red light that reflected off their scales. "The humans never saw it coming," Dagra boasted. Their faces showed confusion, not fear. "They didn't even understand they were at war." Supreme Commander Voss clicked his claws together in approval. "An excellent strategy, General. The element of surprise gives us a great advantage." The 7 members of the High Command sat at a round table. They were the most powerful Vicari in the Empire. Each controlled massive fleets and armies. "Show us what we know about these humans," ordered Voss. A hologram appeared in the center of the table. It showed human anatomy. 2 arms, 2 legs, a soft body with no natural armor. "As you can see," said General Doctor, "humans are physically weak. They have no claws, no venom, and poor senses. Their planet has low gravity. making their bones fragile compared to ours. Yet they managed to develop space travel, noted Commander Zera, the only female on the council. Tra waved a dismissive hand. Pure luck. Their scientific development was chaotic and unplanned. They stumbled upon faster-than-light travel through a series of accidents. What about their weapons? Asked another commander. Basic energy weapons. Nothing we haven't seen before, Dra replied. Their ships are poorly armored. We stole their military database. Their tactics are simple and predictable. The meeting was interrupted by a young officer who rushed in. He bowed deeply before speaking. Supreme Commander, we have received a message from Earth. Their governments are asking why we attacked their ships. They claim they don't understand what provoked us. The High Command laughed together. It was a harsh grating sound. They play innocent, said Voss. How amusing. Shall I prepare a response? Asked the young officer. No response is needed, Drax said. Our next attacks will make our intentions clear enough. In a different part of space, Admiral William Reeves stood before Earth's United Defense Council. The room was filled with representatives from every major nation on Earth. The attack was unprovoked, Reeves explained. Captain Harrison was following diplomatic protocol when the Efkari suddenly opened fire. How many casualties? Asked the council president. 27 dead, 15 wounded, Reeves replied. His voice was tight with anger. The Vakari specifically targeted our engines to prevent escape. This wasn't a misunderstanding. It was a planned ambush. Lisa Daniels stepped forward. Her uniform was still stained with blood from helping the wounded. Intelligence has discovered something important, she said. The Viraria have already begun attacking our outer colonies. The research station near Alpha Centauri was hit an hour ago. Guests filled the room. The research station was primarily civilian scientists and their families. Casualties? Someone asked, voice shaking. 342 confirmed dead, Lisa answered quietly, including 86 children. Silence fell over the room. Then the council president spoke. Admiral Reeves, what do you recommend? Reeves straightened his back. The Vakari clearly want war. All attempts at communication have been ignored. I suggest we give them exactly what they're asking for. But their empire is vast, protested one council member. They have 15 star systems, hundreds of warships. We've barely established colonies on 3 planets. Numbers don't tell the whole story, Reeves said firmly. The Vareri think they know what humans are capable of. They're wrong. What response should we send them? Asked the president. Reeves thought for a moment. Something simple, something they'll understand later when it's too late. He paused. Send this message. You've made a terrible mistake. In his war room, Supreme Commander Voss received the human message. He read it and laughed. Look at this pathetic threat. He told his commanders. These humans think they can stand against the might of our empire. If only he knew what was coming. For the first time in human history, Earth stood united. The attack on the research station changed everything. Old enemies became allies. Borders that had divided nations for centuries now meant nothing. Commander? Susan Blackwood stared at the wall of screens in Earth Defense Headquarters. Her eyes were red from lack of sleep. Her brother had been on that research station. He was a botanist studying alien plants. Now he was gone. Commander, the United Earth Fleet is assembled, said her aide, Lieutenant Greg Foster. Susan nodded. On the main screen, hundreds of ships gathered in Earth orbit. Some were old military vessels. Others were civilian ships hastily fitted with weapons. It wasn't much compared to the Vareri fleet, but it was only the beginning. What's the status of Project Awakening? She asked. Greg checked his tablet. The first wave of dormant defense systems is online. The Vakari don't know about them. Susan allowed herself a small smile. For decades, Earth nations had hidden their most advanced weapons from each other. Now those secrets were being shared and deployed together, and the I-combat system's ready, Greg replied. We kept those off the official military database that the Varari stole. They have no idea what's coming. In another part of the galaxy, a Varicuri scout ship detected an unusual signal. They followed it to a small human vessel that appeared to be damaged. Prepare to board, ordered Captain Krell. Take prisoners for questioning. The Vakari soldiers stormed the human ship with weapons ready. They found 5 human crew members who immediately raised their hands and surrender. You are now prisoners of the Ferrari Empire, announced the Vakari leader. Resistance is useless. The humans exchanged glances. Then something unexpected happened. Instead of surrendering, the humans attacked with hidden weapons. They fought fiercely despite being outnumbered. Captain Krell watched in disbelief as his soldiers reported the battle. Why don't they surrender? They can't win. When the last human fell, the Virari searched the ship. They found something strange. The ship's engine was rigged to explode. The humans had been fighting to buy time. If the Vicari hadn't discovered it, the explosion would have destroyed both ships. This makes no sense, Krell said. Why would they choose death over capture? On the Virari homeworld, an elderly alien named Professor Z requested a meeting with the High Command. He was not Virari but Galarion, a species known for their long lives and extensive knowledge of galactic history. I must warn you about these humans, Professor Zex told them. His voice was thin with age. I have studied thousands of species. Humans are different. General Dra laughed. Different how? They are weak and primitive. Have you studied their history? Asked the professor. Humans fought thousands of wars against themselves. They developed weapons that could destroy their own planet. They survived disasters that should have ended their civilization multiple times. Ancient history dismissed. Supreme Commander Voss, their current military is no match for ours. You do not understand, insisted Professor Z. Humans are dangerous not because of their current weapons, but because of how they think. They are incredibly adaptive. When faced with a stronger enemy, they become more dangerous, not less. The High Command ignored his warnings. They laughed at the old professor's fears. Meanwhile, Commander Blackwood led a small team to a Vicari outpost where human prisoners were being held. Her ship was tiny and fast, designed to avoid detection. Remember, she told her team, this is a rescue mission. Get our people out quickly and quietly. But nothing went as planned. The Vicari discovered them almost immediately. In the firefight that followed, Susan's team was cut off from their ship. We need a new plan, said one of her soldiers. As enemy fire hit the wall beside them, Susan looked around at the alien technology surrounding them. Her mind worked quickly, seeing patterns and possibilities. I have an idea, she said. But it's going to be loud. Very loud. 2 hours later, the Virari outpost exploded, in flames as Susan's team escaped with all the prisoners. They had turned the Virari's own defense systems against them. When news of the raid reached the Virari High Command, the laughter stopped. For the first time, doubt crept in. Perhaps these humans were more dangerous than they appeared. Lieutenant Alex Carter stood before a group of alien allies in a secure meeting room. 3 species had secretly reached out to Earth, offering help against the Furcari. They were smaller powers who had suffered under Fury aggression for years. Before we discuss strategy, Alex said, you need to understand what you're allying with. You need to understand humans. He touched a control panel. Images appeared on the wall screen. Ancient human warriors with spears, medieval knights in armor, modern soldiers with rifles. Humans have been fighting wars for our entire history, Alex explained. Not just against threats, but against each other. For land, for resources, for ideas. The aliens watched silently. One of them, a blue-skinned diplomat named Curry, raised a tentacle. This is not unique, Kiri said. Many species fight wars. Alex nodded. True, but humans perfected war in ways most species never imagined. We turned it into a science. More images appeared. Ancient battle formations. Guerrilla fighters hiding in jungles. Modern special forces training. When the Vircari attacked us, they expected us to fight according to galactic conventions of warfare, Alex continued. They expected us to meet their fleets in open space to follow predictable patterns. One of the aliens, a reptilian creature named Dex, clicked his teeth nervously. And you don't, we adapt, Alex replied simply. Throughout our history, when faced with stronger enemies, humans found ways to even the odds. We developed tactics that seem dishonorable to some, but effective to us. Meanwhile, in a distant star system, a lone human destroyer, named the Defiant, approached a Veracuri. Patrol of 3 warships. The Virari ships were larger and more heavily armed. They spotted us, reported the Defiant sensor officer. They're moving to surround us. Captain Frank Martinez nodded calmly. Right where we want them. Begin Operation Trojan. The Defiant sent out a distress signal, appearing damaged and vulnerable. The Veracari ships moved closer, eager for an easy kill. They're within range, said the weapons officer. Now, ordered Martinez. The Defiant suddenly released dozens of small objects. They looked like debris, but each contained a powerful explosive. At the same time, the ship's engines fired at full power, pulling away faster than the Vicari expected. The Valkyrie commander laughed. They're running away and dropping garbage behind them. Pathetic. Then the garbage exploded. The blast created a chain reaction with the FCI ship's own weapon systems. All 3 warships were destroyed. The Defiant didn't survive either. Captain Martins and his crew had known it was a one-way mission. They had volunteered anyway. Back at the Alliance meeting, Alex showed footage of the battle. 1 human ship for 3 very capital ships, he said quietly. We call it an acceptable trade. The aliens looked disturbed. This was not how wars were fought in the civilized galaxy. But the crew started. Curie volunteered. Alex finished because they knew their sacrifice would save more lives in the long run. In the Virari High Command, Supreme Commander Voss slammed his fist on the table. How are they predicting our movements? He demanded. We change our codes daily, yet they're always one step ahead. General Draw had no answer. The war was not going as planned. Humans didn't fight like any enemy they have faced before. Professor Zex was invited back to speak. This time they listened. Humans evolved as predators, the old alien explained. Apex predators on their own world. They understand predatory thinking because they are predators themselves. What does that mean? Asked Commander Zera. It means they think like you do, replied Professor X. They can predict what you will do because they ask themselves, what would I do if I were hunting? And then they set traps accordingly. For the first time, fear flickered in the eyes of the Vicari High Command. Then how do we defeat them? Asked Supreme Commander Voss. Professor Z shook his head sadly. I'm afraid you already made your biggest mistake. You killed their young. He looked at each Vicari commander in turn. There is nothing more dangerous in the galaxy than a human protecting its children or a human seeking revenge for them. 6 months into the war, the tide had turned. The Vicari, who had expected a quick victory, were now losing territory daily. Their once mighty empire was shrinking as humans pushed forward on multiple fronts. Sergeant Maria Vasquez lay perfectly still in the tall purple grass of planet Nexus 7. The colony had been under Vicari control for 3 months. Maria and her team had been on the ground for 5 days. Barely sleeping, watching and waiting. Target convoy approaching, whispered Corporal Ryan Lee through their secure comm channel. 6 vehicles, 22 soldiers by my count. Copy that, Maria replied. She checked her weapon one last time. Everyone in position. Remember, we hit hard and fast. What followed was not a fair fight. The Varishi never saw the attack coming. Maria's team had studied their patrol patterns, identified their weaknesses, and struck at the perfect moment. Within minutes, the convoy was destroyed and the human team disappeared back into the wilderness. This same scene was playing out across dozens of occupied worlds. Small human teams causing massive damage before vanishing. On a Vicari command ship, Field Marshal Gorn reviewed the reports with growing concern. How are they doing this? He demanded of his intelligence officer. These humans have been on the ground for days without rest or resupply. Our troops require regular breaks and food. The humans just keep going. The intelligence officer brought up an analysis of human physiology. We've learned something disturbing about humans. They evolved as what they call persistence hunters. Before they had weapons, they would chase prey until it collapsed from exhaustion. What does that mean for us? Asked Gorn. It means they can keep fighting long after our troops are exhausted. They can go days with minimal sleep and still function. Some of their soldiers have been awake for 72 hours straight and still complete complex missions. Field Marshal Gorn stared at the data in disbelief. No Fury could function without proper rest cycles. Their biology simply wouldn't allow it. In another part of space, a meeting of alien scientists and anthropologists was taking place. They had gathered to discuss the surprising human military success. The most remarkable thing about humans, said Dr. Plex, a leading xenobiologist, is not their technology, but their adaptability. They learn from every encounter. She showed the group examples of human equipment captured early in the war, compared to current versions. See how they modified their armor after first contact with Thrari weapons. They've improved their shields to counter for carry energy. Signatures and their weapons now exploit the weak points in for carry ship designs. How quickly did they make these changes? Asked one observer. Weeks, replied Dr. Plex, not years or decades as most species would require their industrial base completely reoriented for war production in less than a month. Back at Valkyrie High Command, Supreme Commander Voss faced reality. The war was not winnable in its current form. We must sue for peace, he told his commanders. We can offer to return to the pre-war boundaries. The humans will never agree, said Commander Zira. They keep pushing forward. Nevertheless, the Verari sent peace and voice to Earth.